Next team in our season review comes from the Western Conference. And Tommy, which team, based on our simulation, will be the last in West?
In the West, we choose Los Angeles Kings to take the bottom seat. In the Western Conference, Western Division, the Kings will be the last team. Even if they did quite okay last season, especially just before the end, and before their season was cancelled completely, but they've been now without any competitive games for almost 9 months. So it will be hard to come back for them. They are still very much Anze Kopitar's team. There is not a lot of support for the 33-year-old center, and especially now with the rebuild ongoing, the young players will have to take a massive role because they sold Tyler Toffoli. They are trying to let go of Dustin Brown and Jeff Carter, the veterans who were very disappointing last season already. So they are in for a very tough season again. Hopefully the young players will get some chances to show what they can do, and Kings are heading in the right direction with that. Defensively, Kings were pretty good last season. They don't allow a lot of goals. They play really gritty game, and their defense is extremely tough to play against. And of course, Drew Doughty is still one of the better defensemen in the league. But goal scoring is a massive issue, and like I said, it's Anze Kopitar's efforts that are often carrying the team, and then Jonathan Quick can win a couple of points on his own as well. But it is very likely that the Los Angeles Kings will find themselves at the bottom of the Western Conference and the bottom of the West Division as well.
When we take a look of their performance during the last 3 years, their home win percentage is 50, away is a bit less than 40. So in home games they have been performing reasonably well, and especially when there is a back-to-back home games, the second game or third game in a row, they have been winning over 70% of those games. So when there's new alignment with these back-to-back games, even though all of them are not after each other, but with the rest day, there is a very good chance that LA Kings will perform well, especially at home in the second games when they are playing against the same team. Overall, bad teams have bad betting results in many cases when you are betting moneyline bets, but there has been expected value to bet Kings about every fourth game, both home and away. And by betting home, those expected value games for the Kings during the last 3 seasons, you've been able to make nice money, over 700. And at the same time, all the total bets for the home game has also generated profit. That's a bit more than 600 during the last 3 seasons. But overall, if you are LA Kings fan and you hold, for example, this kind of card, you wouldn't bet your team every time, because if you would bet every home game where Kings have been playing for them, you would be losing over 1,000 during these 3 seasons. Now when the teams are playing against a handful of opponents, one team pops up in the Kings column, and that is Colorado. They played 9 games during the last 3 seasons, and Kings have won 6 of those, and especially away they have been pretty good. They won 3 out of 4 games, and basically have made money every sector of those bets, because they have been, of course, huge underdogs against well-performing Avalanche. But it seems that maybe Avalanche have been coming to those games with overestimating themselves and underestimating Kings, as results have been pretty good for the Kings. But is there any other things that we need to take into consideration with this new divisional lineup, Tommy?
It's nice you brought up the Avalanche factor there, because one of the reasons why Kings might have been so successful against Avalanche is that they are a pretty gritty team. They play really hard-nosed hockey, quite old school style, especially in the defense. And if you compare it to Avalanche, which is really young team, they play very active. They hold the puck a lot. They try to control it. So it might be a good fit for Kings to play against Avalanche. Not so much maybe some other teams, let's say St. Louis Blues, maybe Anaheim Ducks, and these sort of teams that play a bit more similar way as the Kings do. Otherwise, I think in the West, it's nice for the teams that they play within themselves. So there is not a lot of travel. There's a lot of teams in California area, in the West Coast. So for the team like Kings, it's maybe also a little advantage there. They are quite a heavy-footed roster. They have big guys, not a lot of these fast young players like some other teams. Of course, there are the newcomers. Quinton Byfield is almost 2 meters, 100 kilos guy. You have Gabriel Vilardi, who is a big boy. So, you know, these guys might be a little gassed if they have to go run and gun against the Colorados every night, like they will in this season now with the games coming. They play four games in a week and so on. But it is, again, very interesting to see how the teams will approach this new situation. And there might be some rotation, a lot more young guys getting a chance to play with Anze Kopitar and Dustin Brown, Jeff Carter. So there is maybe something for the veterans to give to these rookies as well.
When we take a look of those, excuse me, last 3 seasons, and I'm negative, by the way. Last 3 seasons of LA Kings season forecasts, 17-18 season, we predicted that they would go over the Vegas line, and they did. And 18-19, we predicted that they would go under the Vegas line, and they did. I think they were dead last in Western Conference. Year ago, we predicted them to be last, and only their 7-game winning streak at the end of the season, with nothing on the game for them, pushed them above slumping San Jose Sharks. So they were second last, and I think if the season would be played and all the bets that people were made for the season futures, that would be correct as well. So are we now making 4th in a row in our season future bets, and would it be over or under this time, even though we don't have the lines? But what do you think, Tommy?
I would still go for the under. There are so many good teams in the West: Colorado, Minnesota, San Luis, Vegas, Arizona, even San Jose can be a surprising. Anaheim is maybe upcoming. So it's a very tough division to play in, and Kings are not there yet. They're getting better. They are in their rebuild phase. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but they are still losing more than winning, which would mean that they are probably gonna end up with less points than the odds makers will eventually predict.
Okay, we'll see how it goes, but I'm also pretty much agreeing with you that we maybe save our money for these season future bets, especially for the Stanley Cup bet of LA Kings for the future, and maybe for other teams.
Definitely.
Very good. Thanks for today's best hockey bets, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye bye.